we're on two different sides where I think the fans of Tyler, the Tyler aura is too strong. You know, it's never going anywhere. No matter what he does, the aura will kind of take him to the promised land. But I think the people who are actually just like listening to the music and there's no aura around it, this is probably his first flop in this new era of
What?
Tyler the Creator.
What? Yo,
Yeah,
I'm going crazy
I,
right now.
I, I really think it is. Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. We love the support. Make sure you subscribe to us and leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka AdrielSmiley.com, aka Adriel Smiley Official, aka The Godfather, aka Champion Scribe. And we're here with His Royal Highness, aka The Bunny, aka No Longer a Munch, aka Green Goblin, aka Little Red Riding Hood, King Grant.
Are you enjoying my ceremonial headdress, my cultural artifact that I'm
Oh my
currently wearing?
goodness. Cultural
Um,
artifact.
yeah. But we're back. We're doing a review or react because this is day two of
Two.
this album
Yeah.
of this album being out. Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler, the Creator. Yeah, so obviously, guys, I cannot wear a hat. You've seen my afro. That's not an option for me. I would have to like relax it. I'd have to and then like puff it on the sides or something like. I'd have to do a Smino type of deal.
That could be a vibe. That could be a vibe.
So you guys are here watching me wear my do-rag that I've had since I was like 16 years old when I used to have my hair braided. That's how old this thing is. But that's a throwback, okay? So that's a big deal for me. Yeah, so Tyler the Creator. Also, if you're wondering why the hell is your background in disarray, I am in the middle of moving 2 weeks from now. You will be seeing a completely different background in this Zoom, probably. So that's why that is. But Tyler the Creator, he's dropped this latest album. Surprise drop, surprise-ish. Because he was like, hey, I'm dropping this. It was over the weekend where he said he was dropping this album. And then on a Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, boom,
Hmm.
Tyler the Creator has reappeared into our lives. 10 tracks, okay? 28 minutes, 30 seconds. It's the most bite size we've ever gotten from him, except for the like 4 song EP that he gave us.
Hmm.
I've been excited. Basically, anytime Tyler the Creator drops music, I'm excited. I have multiple people in my life. This is their second coming of Jesus Christ coming back. So it's a big deal in the grand sphere. How about you? What did you feel like when this was coming out? This was being released. This was being announced.
I'm excited. I'm a huge Tyler fan, and I think what I've gotten to enjoy the last few years is Tyler be this big artist. Like, not only is he someone that I like, who I respect his art, but I wouldn't say mainstream yet, but he's basically as big as you can be as an artist without being necessarily mainstream. So
Okay.
I'm just excited for him to be this big, and he's one of the few artists who is still almost solely an album artist. You
Hmm.
know, he doesn't have those big hits. Yeah, he has a few of them. You know, "See You Again" I think is still the big one, but an artist like him to do the numbers he does first week, that is pretty rare for someone who doesn't have the mainstream big hits. He has songs that stream very well, of course. Earthquake, New Magic Wand, Are We Still Friends, even Like Him from the last project, but he's again a rare artist in this generation. We don't see artists like him do the numbers he does. I want to actually start with the numbers and kind of like where this fits into his career because we talked about on the last podcast of he broke the cycle of dropping every 2 years for his
Hmm.
entire career, starting from '09 up until 2021. Chromacopia was the break of that cycle.
Yeah.
Chromacopia was last October. So that cycle is broken again. This
Yeah.
is not even a full year and he's dropping again. He's projected to do 215K first week. debut at number one, 140K pure sales, which is impressive. A little less than Travis Scott just did about a week ago, but still one of the biggest hip hop debuts of the year.
Hmm.
And this would be a little bit down from Chromacopia. Chromacopia had a little bit more of a rollout. He did 300,000 first week with Chromacopia, his biggest debut. But it's going to be more than Call Me If You Get Lost, which was 169,000.
Yeah.
So he's created kind of a new benchmark for himself of doing over 150K. This is now four albums in a row with an over 150K first week.
Yeah, and you said something that was intriguing to me where you said he is not mainstream. I, I he's mainstream. You can't do this we're talking about 3 4 albums in a row over 100,000.
Mm.
You cannot
I,
you can't do that and not be mainstream. You just can't,
I,
like,
I,
in
I, I,
today's music sphere
I
you
still
can't
think
do
he's
that.
not, and I'll tell you why. We have this talk almost, it feels like every other podcast, but
Hmm.
most of my friends aren't internet folk.
Hmm.
Me and you are internet folk. Okay, on the internet, Tyler the Creator is mainstream. You
Hmm.
know, off the internet in real life, I probably think 70% of my friends can't name one song.
But here's the thing, he's not even deep internet. No, he's like surface internet. Like
I
it's
think
it's just like
internet mainstream.
if you just Google, if you just like type, if you're on social media, like if you're just punching in Google, you're gonna see this guy you would probably
Ye-
see him in a blonde wig. That's probably the most iconic
mhm.
version of him. But I think that I don't know, he's mainstream. I think that maybe our parents don't know who Tyler the Creator is. But to I think we've had this discussion before. I don't know if it's been on the pod where I was like, there is different, like, mainstream in the past meant everybody on the face of the planet, like, or not even everybody on the face of the planet, but throughout multiple demographics, you were known, right? But it was kind of separated by, like, some people just don't watch the Grammys, or they're just not really into music like that.
Mhm.
But now it's more of like you can, like, there can be a certain demo, like, age group that just, like, never heard of you, but literally everybody below that demo, literally everyone knows who you are,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm.
somebody who is 30 years old or younger, just a person, they know exactly who Tyler the Creator is. Like, he's inescapable to them. But somebody who's
They know who he is
45,
for sure.
but somebody who's 45 never heard his name. They probably just never heard his name genuinely. So, like, I think
Mhm.
he's so ubiquitous in a certain demo, and that demo is listening to music. So, new music. They're listening to new music particularly. So I think that he is mainstream, but he has gotten that demo locked
I
100%.
I want to hear what people think in the comments, because this kind of harkens back to our Pink Panthers versus Kali Uchis conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you talked about Pink Panthers was like she was this huge star,
Mm-hmm.
and we reviewed her and Kali Uchis the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, Kali Uchis had double the monthly listeners on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it's a part of what your internet is like. And that's why I'm very, he's probably my favorite kind of test case for this in music right now. Because I think that he's one of those people where people know who he is, but can they name a song?
Mm-hmm.
Even one, And I think that is a quality that I'm kind of like checking in for with every project he does. I think Call Me If You Get Lost was kind of the breakthrough where a lot of hip hop fans who knew of him and weren't fans before were like, okay, I'll listen to the full album. I like what he's doing. But the casual fan that still thinks he's too weird or it's not for me, they haven't come in yet. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's funny, I have people in my life who are those people. I check in with them every release. I say, okay, they're like, I haven't even listened to it, or nah, it's not for me. And it's funny because you talked about how mainstream has changed. That is the way it's changed, where you can have, almost the majority of the actual real life humans not listening and denying him at every turn, but in his niche, he gets bigger and bigger every time.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think we're seeing here. He had some comments before this album came out, kind of prepping everyone for the project. And I thought that was interesting because Tyler the Creator has become, we compared him to Kanye in our last review of everything he does is deep, everything he does is intentional. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of overthink his own work for him. Um, and I can tell on this release he was aware of that. From his comments, he was definitely aware of people doing that with his work. And there's a certain type of fan base who does that. We're not going to go into them and psychoanalyze the kind of people they are, but he kind of, I guess, hedged against that with some of his comments. Now, he put out this long statement. I'm going to read a few pieces of it because this is what framed me going into this project and how I was going to think about it. He said, I asked some friends why they don't dance in public, and some said because of the fear of being filmed. I thought, damn, a natural form of expression and a certain connection they have with music is now a ghost. It made me wonder how much of our human spirit got killed because of the fear of being a meme, all for having a good time. He goes on to say, this album was not made for sitting still. Dancing, driving, running, any type of movement is recommended to maybe understand the spirit of it. Only at full volume, don't tap the glass.
Hmm.
When you saw that long, text that he put out, and the caption for that text was more body movement, what did you think when you saw that?
I thought that he was gonna drop something dance related. That's what I was thinking. I think that because he's gotten to a point now where his commentary on music, I can't wait until he gets like old. He's gonna be saying he's gonna become one of those people like Quincy Jones where he just starts saying shit. But I think that he's one of those people who, he was hyper aware of people being hyper aware of his music. Like, every any song that he drops are like, oh, how does this relate to him and his mom, and him and his fan base, and how, him and the person he's dating at the time, it was always like it was almost like Taylor Swiftian the way that people were looking to his music. So when he was like more body music, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be dance related. That's what it felt like to me. Because hasn't really said that about any of his previous music, and none of his music is like that, actually, if you really think about it.
I thought the same thing. I'm happy we're on the same page. I feel validated, cared for, and loved. Because I also thought, okay, we're getting some dance music. And he didn't say dance in particular as that was going to be the album, but he said dancing, driving, running, any type of movement.
Hmm.
So I thought dance music. And then he had this that he said on the same day he announced the album, he said, y'all better get them expectations and hopes down. This ain't no concept, nothing.
Hmm.
And I thought, like, most of the time, an artist would never say anything like that. You let everyone run wild, concept your way to death. But with Tyler and his fans, it's almost like the idea of the concept he puts together sometimes outweighs the actual quality of the music. And I'm actually happy for him in that sense because I felt like earlier in his career, he had these great projects that were not getting the proper love. People kind of didn't understand the genius I felt like he had. And now it's almost skewed all the way the other way, where it's like no matter what he does, it's amazing, it's
Hmm.
genius.
Hmm.
And he's kind of hedging against that, which I actually appreciate him for. Because most artists will not do that. They're kind of like, nope, feed me the love. I'm a genius. Feed the ego.
Yeah.
Feed the ego. Let's go back into our old Tyler reviews because I think he is someone we haven't mentioned for the Album Mode Hall of Fame. But looking back at these past reviews, he might have a shot at
Yeah.
least over the past few years. Chromacopia was the last one we did. That was, we did it in November. It came out in October. Do you remember the score that you gave it?
I think I maybe gave it a light 8. Light. Very light.
You gave it a seven. I gave it a seven and a
Yeah,
half.
okay, see.
Yeah, you were in the right range, right
Hmm.
range. Before that, we did a state sale, the deluxe of Call Me If You Get Lost. We're just milking the Tyler content here. No matter how many songs
That's
he
a
puts out, we're
milk.
talking about him.
One of the most important
Um,
artists of our time.
yeah, that's what I said, milking the content. If you're that important, we got to milk it, okay? Tyler, if you put out an interlude, we're gonna review it, okay? Don't worry, we got you here on album mode.
Mm,
But do you remember your review on that one? The highest mark you had given any Tyler review.
I think it states, I think it was an 8.5. That's an 8.5 to me, I think.
You gave it a nine. I gave it a seven. I'm surprised I gave it a seven because I actually like the estate sale
Yeah, but you
a
don't like
lot.
EPs. You don't like small albums. You're like, oh, you're a curmudgeon like that. You're like,
Sorry for being old school, man. Sorry for being old
you're
school.
like,
Um,
it's only 4 songs, so it can't really be a 9. It can't really be a 10. Like, it's only 4 songs.
yeah,
Anybody can do 4 songs. Anybody on earth can do 4 songs really well.
You
Whatever.
know, one day I'm gonna do it, and then we'll review mine. Call Me If You Get Lost, June of 2021. Do you remember the score you gave that?
Call Me If You Get Lost. That was like again probably 8.5. Like he's hovering in an 8.5 sphere for me.
hmm Yeah, 8.5 for you. I gave that a 9. So
Okay.
that was one where I was really high on him. And excuse me, I think one of my things about that era, Call Me If You Get Lost, was Tyler, the creator, is a hip hop nerd.
Yeah.
And a hip hop nerd in a way that I think his fans actually are not. And that was kind of the album where I realized that. It's like he's closer to our age
Hmm.
and is a hip hop nerd of things that we grew up with. But a lot of his fans are younger
Hmm.
and aren't even necessarily hip hop fans. And that
True.
was the album where I was like, oh, this is making a lot of sense now. He's been hip hop knows about him, but he's really been adopted by the other side. What's your favorite Tyler the Creator era? Is there an era for you where you're like, okay, this is what I think when I think of Tyler?
I hate to do it to people. I know it's cliche, but the Igor era with the blonde wig and the suit is iconic, bro. Like
I
he's
don't
that's
I don't think that's cliche.
I hope he's saving that wig because that's just gonna go in a museum. Like he needs to make sure that he's saving that. Seriously.
Yeah, no, I think that's the one where I think a lot of people came on to him. I don't think that's cliche though. You're black, so I think that's for you. That's like a pretty
But
um.
I've been there since the beginning. Don't get it twisted. Don't get
No,
it
no,
twisted. I was
you're right. You
there.
you have been black since the beginning. That is correct.
I've
Uh,
been listening. No, hey,
that is correct. You've been black this whole time.
I've been on
Um,
The Tyler Spear since the jump. Okay, since the Loiter Squad days, since we were, since we were
mhm.
doing stuff when it was Odd Future on Tumblr. Okay, I was there.
Don't say words people don't understand. Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep
Loiter
it
Squad. Do
new on
people
this
know what Loiter
podcast.
Squad is?
Loader Squad, Tumblr, you're just throwing it back all over the place. For me, my favorite era is actually Wolf. Wolf is when I
Oh
became a
wow.
Tyler fan, like all the way. Like the Goblin era, I was like, we're good. The Goblin era, I was listening to Haji, Frank, Earl. Tyler, I wasn't really a fan of.
Hmm.
But when Wolf came around, that's the first time I saw him live in concert. That was the first album that I was like, no, this guy is talented. So that's my favorite Tyler era. I think obviously with this album we got to start with production. He gave us
Yeah.
all that precursor. We thought it was gonna be a dance album. Again, that's what I thought. That's what you thought. And then he comes out with it, and I got to start with this. None of these songs really feel danceable to me.
Yeah, I would say
Am I missing something?
I would say here I'm about to do a twofer for you right now because usually you ask me, "Oh, which song do you think would be the single?" Right? Ring Ring Ring. That track, I think we're going to talk about dancing. We're talking about dancing, we're talking about a single, just like that's like probably if you drop that song as a single, that had number one strength to me. I think so. Yeah.
Number one, like Billboard number one?
Yeah, that had I think
I'm
it had
sorry, bro.
number
Your
one
brain
strength.
is
Yeah,
on
I
drugs.
do. I do. I'm not crazy. Why does it
I
swear to God.
don't know about
Watch,
that.
watch. He's gonna drop a music video for that song, and then it's gonna start charting, and then everybody's like, "Oh yeah, ring, ring, ring! It's so sick!" And then I'm gonna clip this, like I do with literally everything else, and I'll
Where's
be
Ice
like,
Spice?
"Hey, I told you from the jump. This
Where
happens.
where
This happened with SGA. This happened with Massive by Drake. This happened with everything. I come out here with a strong
where
take.
is Ice Spice? I think we have to bring that back. Where is Ice Spice? Okay.
I swear,
And
take
anyways, I don't think you're
loudly.
wrong. Like, no, that's one of the most streamed songs on the project. That's not like I think you're right in that. Like, clearly the fans have chosen that as a song that they like.
Hmm.
Um, no, to
That's the
me,
dance song. That's the danceable, most danceable one.
yeah, I think "Sucker Free" would be a single I would choose.
Yeah, okay.
But
I like that.
why I disagree with "Ring Ring" is because I don't think "Ring Ring" is really danceable. And I think this it's so funny because I was talking to a friend earlier about the difference between Gen Z and millennials is them merging the internet and the real world. Gen Zs have almost merged those two together in their brains more than
Hmm.
millennials have. And if you actually go out and like hear music outside or go to parties and dance, Ring Ring coming on would kind of ruin the vibe. As much as it is a good song.
You don't like Get
Um,
Down on It?
no, I love that, but that's not what people are dancing to outside. Like this,
Okay.
like Ring Ring is actually probably too slow to be a danceable song right now. And I want to go to Twitter. Let's talk about Twitter X
Hold
as they're
on, one
calling it
sec.
now.
One sec.
Go
You know
ahead.
why mentioned Get Down on It? I swear that that synth line that is like Get Down on It.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
like an
think he,
interpolation.
yeah, I think he
Yeah.
mashed that, and even in when he says like ring 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 ring, pick up the phone. I'm like, that's Saturday.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Monday,
Saturday,
Tuesday,
yeah.
Wednesday. I'm like, hold on a second. There's like a very interesting mashup that is happening right here. I sent it to a couple of people,
Hmm.
one person, my cousin,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Yeah, that's obvious." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah, I thought it was obvious too, so I'm with your cousin
okay,
on it. I thought it was obvious
okay,
too.
fine, whatever."
Uh, but here's the thing. I think none of those songs, at least for the millennials and younger, are
Hmm.
gonna get played out and get danced to. A
True.
song people are comparing this to, I sent you the tweet, everyone said Tyler wishes he made Nokia. I didn't really hear
Not even
that on any
close.
of these songs.
Yeah,
That didn't really make sense to me.
I've seen
But
that too.
why I bring that up is Nokia is a way more danceable song than any of these songs.
Sure.
And I think the idea of us feeling these were danceable, it helps kind of temper expectations for this album. Everyone going into it saying, okay, this is just fun. We don't need to think concept, just think fun and dancey. But I think using that word dance almost made these songs not hit the same because there isn't really a dancing to any of these records. Maybe there's like a more rhythm to it and body movement,
Hmm.
but I don't really see danceable on here. And
I
then as
okay.
well, this feels like a rendition of the NERD album. Like this feels like a
Mm.
Tyler the Creator doing his kind of version of that.
Pharrell
And I,
was
and
on this
I
album.
yeah, for Pharrell's on it. He's a huge Pharrell fan. If you
Yeah,
hear many of
massive
his
Pharrell. Yeah,
interviews,
yeah.
huge Pharrell fan. But I think that's my overall, I guess, problem with the production
Hmm.
is that it being sold as dance music and even like using Saturday in Ring Ring Ring, it's like clearly that's where he's going with it, but it almost tells me it's like how outside is Tyler to know people are actually dancing to? Because because in reality, some of these songs coming on in a function, it's like people are not gonna be dancing to this. This is everyone's going to the bar to get a drink, everyone's going to, to the washroom. So I was wonder what group of people is dancing to this music. Like who are those people? Let us know in the comments. If that's your demographic of dancing to this, let us know, but I can't see it.
Yeah, I think it's the first of all, the music he's referring to is like comes out in like the 80s, right? So it's dance music for the like the 80s. Like you can even think of like a song like Don't Worry Baby. I was like, that sounds like a song, could have
Yeah.
been made by like Will Smith, you know? And that again, that's like early 90s and like 80s music, right? So I like to me it appears as though instead of making what dance music even sounds like today is amorphous because
Hmm.
then you're talking about like are you talking about TikTok dance music? Are you talking about I'm a piano or like are you talking
Outside.
you know what I mean? You're trying to figure out what type of even music that is. But to me, it was more of like early 90s, 80s dance. So when you have a song like Don't Worry Baby, right? Then you're like, oh, that totally makes sense to me. The only thing that is like modern in that track is the trap drums. I don't even know if people even are recognizing it as trap drums in
Hmm.
it, but that's the only thing that's really modern about it. So I think I see the dance aspect. I think it's just like an older version of dance music, right? Where your average person to your 22-year-old today they probably even haven't even heard it. Maybe their parents are playing it.
But
But
they don't even know any of these
yeah,
references.
they're not talking about Saturday. They're not talking about Will
Mhm.
Smith.
Yes, yes.
They're not seeing those references that we are because
Hmm.
again, my dad and my mom were listening to music like this and I'm like, okay, I can see the references. I've obviously heard the songs myself, but that's the difference. I think there's like you mentioned earlier where he's like he's closer to us in age, right? So when he
Hmm.
makes these references in these songs we see them, but the 21-year-olds, I don't know if they see it, but it still sounds good. It's not like it's antiquated. It's just like a revival in a way that only he really can do. I can't really think of any another hip hop artist that can even do something like that, you know?
I think that's an interesting point. There are, of course, two things I liked in terms of production. I told you Sucka Free
Yeah.
would have been the single for me. I love the use of the talk box on there. I think that's
Yeah, it's
really
so cool.
interesting. He uses a couple other songs too, but I think that's pretty interesting. Um, Mommanem,
Hmm.
that's one of those songs that I'm like, he's never gonna be mainstream in the way that I'm thinking.
Yo,
That's just
I
one
had
of
to come
the
around on that one to be honest.
no, but like that's only for the Tyler the Creator fans.
Yeah.
And we messaged beforehand when the rollout was happening, and you messaged me and you said, "Since when does LeBron listen to Tyler the Creator?"
Mm.
And when I heard Mom and Them, I said he doesn't. He does not. I think I'm kind of blessed to have this whole group of friends that are internet folk like us. We were on Tumblr, we're on Twitter now, we're in
Hmm.
TikTok, we're in the Reddit threads. And then I have this whole other group of friends who are the same age and younger than us, who they don't care about none of that. They play the music, they like it or they don't. There's no influence of who's popping, the hype. Like they don't care. They didn't watch a single Clips interview before hearing the project.
We need those
Um,
people.
and those people I think of when I think of Tyler, especially because I think he has a tough time reaching those people.
Yeah.
I think the online folk, the hype and the like mystique and aura around him being such a unique artist, when you hear something like Mom and Them, you're like, okay, he's so different. No one else can make this.
Hmm.
And the person who's not online, they don't care about none of that. They're like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. So I think from that perspective, a song like that falls really, really flat to me. I like I'll Take Care of You sampling Nuck If You Buck. That's pretty cool. That again, that's for our age group, not really for his younger fans. But I think the production on here to me is probably the part I like the least about this project. Like, I don't think any of these beats are bad, but I think this is probably the album the most, and I hate to say it so early in the podcast, but it's the album most where we're sprinkling the like aura points onto
No,
this album. Like,
no.
this is where I feel it because I, no, I rarely say that is because some of these beats,
Hmm.
if there was no precursor, this is a dance album, you just heard this song, people are not playing this. Like these are like if you're a Tyler fan, you listen to everything Tyler does.
Hmm.
The people who are not Tyler fans, there's no way they want to hear any of these songs.
Mm.
Call Me If You Get Lost was like I can show that to a non-Tyler fan and they can like understand and get with it. I think a lot of these songs is like you have to explain so much before you play some of these songs to someone.
I don't
You
think
know?
so. No. Here's the thing. I get that when you were talking about Playboy Cardi. I get you.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to me. This, I think it's slightly abrasive. Like for example, Big Poe.
Yes, that's
It's
another
I
one.
would say it's abrasive, especially at the very beginning, but he's made abrasive music before. Igor is probably the most abrasive his music has ever been,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was like his, I would say, second breakout because he already had a break. To us, he already broke out, but the second
Mm-hmm.
breakout was Igor, and that was
Mm-hmm.
abrasive. So I think that him still having,
Abrasive isn't the
distortion.
issue.
I think that, but there's nothing crazy about his music. It's eclectic, but it's not like, I don't know. It's not like ambient drone music or like
No, no,
death
no.
metal or something. You know
I,
what I
I
mean? Like
think I,
it
I want to
exists in
I
a
want to
sphere
use
that we all seen.
I want to use your example. Your example is how I'm thinking of it. Of he's referencing all these kind of 80s songs and sounds of
Pastor Cavassier.
80s dance music. And that's something that like I still listen to pretty frequently. Like
Right.
80s like R&B disco influence like that's in my playlist like basically every day still. And I think if you're familiar with that sound and you like that sound, none of these songs would go in that playlist.
Right.
So I think like if you're unfamiliar with that sound, maybe this is just so new to you, you like it. But I think if you're going for something that's like danceable in the 80s version of danceable,
Hmm.
how could you choose this over Cheryl Lynn? There's just really no world where you would do that. So that's kind of what I mean of like the people who are old enough to understand what he's doing, will they like what he's doing versus the original?
I'm gonna
And
say
make
yes. I'm gonna bet on yes.
and I think we're gonna find out, but I feel like this is one of those situations where what he's doing is kind of a version of this sound that hasn't been done before, and maybe this is just not the time for it. And in 5 years, it will be because that's what I think is like every time I listen to this album, I'm like, okay, let me take dance out of it. Okay, he said dance, but I'm just gonna take dance out of it because I'm not dancing to any of these records. Okay,
Hmm.
and I say, what situation am I playing these records in? You know, I just came back from a cottage a few days ago.
Hmm.
In what scenario would I play any of these records? And I thought to myself, I said, if I played any of these records, they're taking me off the aux. Like,
Oh, you're tripping, bruh. You're
I'm I'm
tripping. I
I'm
actually think
I'm
you
being
are.
I'm being
I
serious.
think you're
Listen,
tripping big
with
time.
adults, not 23-year-olds. I'm talking about adults, like with
You can't play
adults.
sucker free around people our age?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And
I get we're running in different circles clearly because I was not at the cottage, by the way.
no different circles, but I think that's the part that I'm like, I guess bringing from that perspective. 'Cause I'm a Tyler fan, you know.
Hmm.
And even the cottage I was just at, I know I'm the only Tyler fan at that cottage.
Yo,
You
who do
know,
you
there's
what? Okay,
11,
well, yeah, see, that's the difference because I'm like, who do you know that's not a Tyler creator? Like, I can
but
literally every single one of my friends, like all of them,
mm, mm.
know
But
who
that's
he is and listen or tangentially
mm.
listens to his music. So for you to be like, oh yeah, they're gonna kick me off the Ox, I'm like, you're playing new Tyler. Who's kicking you off the Who's kicking you off the Ox? We're playing Tyler the Creator.
And I'm bringing that perspective because I think, like Tyler, like Cardi, the internet fandom kind of has you in this bubble
Mm.
where it's
But it's
almost
not
like not.
internet fandom though, because
I'm,
again, he's selling
I'm
200K. It's not internet fandom. It's real life.
no that no one's buying albums, so it's not real life. These are streams and online orders,
People are
but these
definitely.
are
He's probably one of those artists that actually sells like the
no,
physicals,
sure,
like his
but I'm
vinyls and
saying
stuff.
no one is buying these in person. Like you're
Yeah.
still buying them from your home and sending it to your home
Mm,
and playing it in your home.
hmm.
But why I'm bringing that up is because I think that with artists like this, we kind of only think of the music in the context of his own fans. You know, which is a comparison to someone like Miley Cyrus or Drake
Hmm.
or even Bruno Mars, where we think of it in the context of everybody. And I think he's popular enough and selling enough copies where I think it's almost unfair to not think of his music in the context of everybody. You know, he's a bigger artist where it's like you have to think of everyone listening to his music. And I know I'm this privileged to kind of have both sides, but I think this is the album where I'm kind of concerned about that part of his career because I've seen a lot of tweets about
What?
it.
Yo,
I
this
think
is crazy. What is going on right now? I'm actually
I
genuinely surprised by what you're saying. For the past like maybe
I
15 minutes, I cannot believe the words are coming out of your mouth.
I
I
no,
just can't believe it.
I'm serious as a heart attack. Um, I've been seeing a lot of tweets about it, and I've seen it kind of creep up more and more. People are saying like Tyler's starting to lose me. I don't know if I'm
Get
rocking with
lost.
him anymore.
Get lost.
But I think this is not the worst thing in the world. I do want to get to some of the lyrics because he's rapping all over this thing.
Yeah. Fun lyrics too. I
Um,
like his lyrics. It's very funny. I mean, he's
yeah,
one of the
but
funnier. Yeah, he's just a funny rapper.
oh, he's a very, very comedic rapper.
Yeah.
But the thing, and this is why I bring all of this up in the first place, is I've been saying on this podcast for maybe a year now that people are not listening to the music. Okay.
Hmm.
Tyler the Creator fits into that category because every out this is maybe 5 albums deep now. Maybe we'll say four to be conservative, but I think it's 5 albums deep. Of him talking about he can't find love, it's never gonna work out for him, he might be the problem. He's toxic. Um,
But
and
here's
no
the
one
thing.
thinks of him
Okay,
in
go ahead.
that way, but he's been rapping about that and saying that in his lyrics for what is this, 8 years now?
He has. But here's the thing with that. It always
Hmm.
sounds different though. We talked about this with The Weeknd, where it's like
Hmm.
still singing about the same shit, but the production is crazy. Like it's always changing. Every time you listen to a
Hmm.
different album, different production all the time, right? And Tyler the Creator is a master of production. Like over the past like 10 years, I would say,
Hmm.
he's just been doing like, 360 no scopes on people. Like it's been insane, right?
Yeah.
So that is giving him the space to rap or sing about the same thing because it always the music, like the actual audio waves going into your head, sound drastically different each time.
So sonically, he evolves like no one else in this era.
Yeah.
Like that is without question. And I want to be clear. I don't have a problem with him talking about the same thing over and over again. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying in terms of the actual artist and person he is.
Hmm.
It's like his fans are missing that completely. I saw some people make some comments about Drake saying you're too old to be talking about this still, or where's your wife and kids?
Hmm.
And I'm like, Tyler and Drake ain't that far in age. And Tyler ain't close to no wife and kids either,
Hmm.
and so it's like I think it's a very big gap between how he's viewed. And we had our own conversation about this yesterday,
Yeah.
off the podcast of how he's viewed and what his actual music is. And seeing who his actual music is, I think is so interesting because I think people are not even tapping into what he's been saying and telling us about his personal life, how he's feeling, his dating life. And I think this album is no different. People are clearly not paying attention.
I don't think you need to, I think if you do pay attention, you can catch a lot of his funny lines. I think one of them is I think it's on Don't Have the Glass where he talks about hold on a second, I'm trying to he's on yeah, this is on Don't Tap the Glass slash tweaking, but it's on the Don't Tap the Glass portion where he's like, feel like Slick Rick, neck looking like when you stare into the sun too goddamn long. I fucked her friend, her nigga, her bitch, his bitch, and I know I'm wrong. So these things where the bi first of all the bisexual lines he's mastered them in like the funniest way where he's just always shooting them in these different directions and ways that you would not even think. And again, I've said this every album that he does, he is the only person that can rap like that because there are too many dudes in the closet to even say shit like that, right? And then B, the people in hip hop who are gay or bisexual, they're just not as good as him, right? So
Hmm.
he exists in a zone where he is the only one on earth right now that can say something like that. And that is something that will always draw you to his music lyrically, where it's like there's always going to be something he is the only one that can say it and the only
Hmm.
one that does say it. So you can be like, oh, people aren't really listening to the lyrics or anything. But it's like when you listen to the lyrics, like he's dropping shit that this is like the core of hip hop. And I've talked about this. The core of hip hop is being able to say things other people have not said, cannot say, did not say. And
Hmm.
just by his sexuality alone and being totally open with his sexuality, he is able to do that. This is a
Hmm.
core element of hip hop, and he is able to bring that to the fore every time, even though that it's about something that nobody else will touch. I think that's incredible. I think it's one of the best things about him.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I feel like the novelty of it is not as exciting as it was when he first started doing it.
Hmm.
It's kind of expected at this point, but I think that's part of what I'm saying about people like how they're viewing his lyrics. Because it is, interesting to have a bisexual rapper talk about these things,
Hmm.
but take that part out of it, he's the problem. And he absolutely is the problem. You
Yeah,
know
he
what I
is
mean?
openly.
Um,
He's just
so
saying
it's
it
like,
outside.
yeah, like, and so I think that's a part of it where it's like the aura is so strong around him that no one views him like that. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Because we would never talk about Tyler the way we talk about Drake, you know?
True.
And what Tyler's doing is just as egregious. So I think that's why I brought that up is like, the aura is getting to a point now where when we hear the lyrics, we're not even hearing what he's saying. We're like, oh my God, it's so cool that he said that. It's like he's ruining like 10 lives in that one in that one bar. So I thought that was interesting. My one set lyrics is from Down Bad.
Okay.
It's in verse one. Again, this is like such a Tyler type of record in terms of the lyrics. He says, oh, he went to glitter them teeth. Okay, but he ain't got nowhere to sleep. Okay, you swear he a bum and he frontin'. Okay, but he got his bun in your oven. Okay, they filming hot takes in a room. Okay, that rent must be due very soon. Okay, them crackers ain't really autistic. Okay, BLM was taking attention. Okay. He's calling out
Problematic.
a
Yeah.
bunch of people in that. Tyler has no problem calling anybody broke. He will do that at the drop of a hat. I think what's interesting about him growing lyrically is kind of like he's not kind of going to the same place he did on the estate sale and Cornucopia with his lyrics,
Hmm.
but he's a little bit there on this.
Yeah.
And I think your weekend comparison is so great here because as the Sonics change, he's still kind of keeping some of these themes lyrically. So I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think Tyler, the Creator, was one of the first people that was like really getting canceled,
Hmm.
right? Early, like I'm talking about 2010s, 2011, where they wouldn't even allow him to fly to like Australia or some shit. Um, so he's kind of been in this space where he is constantly um his political or just like social commentary has been like he's been totally strong in it. Like he feels unafraid to do it because he feels as though I've already been through, I've already been through the cancellation,
Hmm.
right? I've been through the cancellation, but like legit cancellation, like international cancellation,
Yep.
and I withstood it. And then I even jumped so far artistically from where that was that people don't even talk about that other part of me anymore, right?
It basically never happened.
Yeah, so now he's in a space where because been able to make that jump, he's like post cancel, right? I don't know who else is really in that space right now.
Hmm.
I'm trying to really think about. I can't really think of a person like that, but he's post cancellation. We talk about postmodern. He's post
Eminem
cancellation.
is the other one who's like that,
Yeah,
where he's, very post cancellation.
he's post cancellation, like postmodern, like post.
Hmm.
That in like an artistic post way, where he's like
Yes,
he's gotten
yes.
past the part of like being canceled, like that he is just existing in a space that every fucking right wing comedian wishes that they exist in, where you can be post cancel, but he is a person that is actually in that space
You
to a
said
degree.
this before. He actually was canceled before canceling. And I
Yeah.
think that's a big part of him even being able to operate post cancel because some of the songs that he still talks about that stuff are on Flower Boy. I think
Hmm.
people don't even realize that like he was still doing that so late into his career. So when I think about what this means for his career, I think that part is very interesting because like we're on two different sides where I think the fans of Tyler, the Tyler aura is too strong. It's never going anywhere. No matter what he does, the aura will kind of take him to the promised land. But I think the people who are actually just like listening to the music and there's no aura around it, this is probably his first flop in this new era of
What?
Tyler the Creator.
What? Yo,
Yeah,
I'm going crazy
I,
right now.
I, I really think it is. I think that there's I listened to this album probably four times since it's come out, and I think on the last listen, what really stuck out to me is I was like, if you don't have any context and this is like an album you listen to, like you're not gonna go back to this. I don't even think the actual fans are gonna go back to this, but I think if you spend enough time on the internet, this is too exciting to not like indulge in it. And I think this is I'm excited too. I like Tyler too, so I'm excited, but I'm not so lost in the sauce where the excitement is gonna overtake the actual music I'm hearing.
Hmm.
And then on top of it, none of these songs are really danceable. And so I think with a whole album based off of body movement and him mentioning dance himself, it's like we can overlook that all we want and find, the one song that we can dance to. But you can't lead with all this talk about body movement and playing it in your car, and none of these songs are danceable. Like I have a car playlist with my girl. We're not putting any of this in that car
Right.
playlist. I'm going to a cottage this weekend. I'll come back and report how much Tyler has played of
Okay.
any album, and that's a cottage with people who are younger. That's a cottage with people who are going to be closer to the age of listening to Tyler. I'm gonna guess he's not going to be played at all. So I think in the quest of him becoming that artist who everyone knows his music,
Yeah.
he took a huge step back in
That's
that.
crazy.
But
Wow.
but his fans will always be his fans, and the aura will never die.
I think for his career, I think it's just a plus. I think it's just like another bullet. I think it's another good album. I'm kind of basically this entire podcast. I'm delighted to hear your score because I because I after what was said in this, I'm I'm here stuttering because
Unranked.
I'm like I cannot believe what is happening right now. So, but I think that this is good for him. It also shows this is the second album in a row where he's dropped the album on a Monday,
Yes. Yeah, I
midweek.
like
So
that.
he's forfeiting. So even so you can even think of it that way, where he's forfeiting 3 days of listenership and he's still selling 200, 100, 300. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like that's why I'm saying like
I love that. I love
that's
that.
that's part of the thing where I'm saying like mainstream, like this guy's he there isn't a person under 30 that doesn't know who he is. Even
Most
like
of the
30, even like
population is over
35.
30.
Sorry?
I think the difference of what we're saying is most of the population is over 30. So if you're saying most population doesn't know who he is,
Yeah,
that person can't be considered
yeah, but
mainstream.
his saturation level is extremely high. Extremely,
I
extremely,
know
extremely high
you
in
know
that demo.
he's very popular, but I think and this is like part of the difference of Tyler and even someone like Lil Baby is like a huge part of Tyler's fan base are not hip hop fans.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like outside of hip hop is propping you up with all this aura and all of these other things. And it's like the
I
hip
don't
hop fan, it's very true.
okay.
The
But you're
it's very
thinking
true.
I would say all of his fans are not black hip hop fans. That's a difference. I
No,
think go ahead.
because I think this is such a bad thing to say, but the group of internet people who like that's how you get your music and like that's how you know what's what.
Hmm.
Like I'm not counting you as a real hip hop fan in the
Oh,
same way. Like the people who it's like your first time hearing clips was this album. I'm not counting any of those people.
okay.
Like those people are the people who I'm like, yeah, you whatever the internet goes to is what you go to.
Right. Yeah, yeah. That's
You
a little bit
know?
different. That's a little different.
Yeah. And but hip hop became hugely popular as the internet grew. So
Yeah.
a lot of those so it's like they're fans of hip hop, but they're fans of the hip hop that the internet cosigns.
Right.
You know, Freddie Gibbs was around and signed to Young Jeezy. You know, Young Jeezy still makes music, but they weren't around for the Young Jeezy Freddie Gibbs. But once Freddie
Right.
Gibbs came popular on the internet, now they're a Freddie Gibbs fan.
Right.
So I think that's the kind of fan that's a fan of Tyler. I think the people who were around for the first Clips albums, you know, or the first Freddie Gibbs albums, probably are not the actual Tyler fans that see all this aura around him. So I think how he's kind of viewed historically and going forward, that's going to play a big part in it. He's going to be someone who is going to be well respected going forward. He has this great discography. He's putting up amazing numbers.
Yep.
I would say he's one of the greatest of this era for sure.
Yep.
But I
He's number
think
3 in the big 3.
absolutely not. But I think one thing about his career, and I'm kind of seeing over the past year or so, is that he's going to be one of those artists who everyone kind of puts up there because of what he's achieved, but they can't speak to the music as well. Like me and you can speak to the music as well, but there's going to be someone trying to prop Tyler up, and then they can't name five Tyler songs.
Okay. Yeah.
I compared him to Eminem in the past, and I think the difference between him and Eminem is Eminem had 20 hits. Where even if you're not an Eminem fan, you know these songs, you saw what these songs did. There's not a Tyler song that I can think of where if you're not a fan, you're like, I saw this song do all of this.
Hmm.
And so I think historically, that's going to be a big part of how he's viewed is like, I remember when Tyler was big. I remember when he was doing all these things. But what can I actually remember sonically from what he's done? So I feel
Wow.
like this is probably not going to help in that case.
Wow.
So for me, that
Okay.
hurts for his career. But for the fandom, listen, for the fandom, for the aura, for all the 25-year-old whites, he's still the GOAT. Still the GOAT.
I think it's good. I think it's just good for his career. More good music doesn't hurt, and we're talking about again one of the best people of his era. So
Hmm.
that's not a problem. And he's an album artist, and people are still going up for the album.
Yep.
He didn't even drop a
Yeah.
single. I think he dropped a single like after the album came out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so the fact that everybody's tuning into him for the album sound like hotcakes.
Sound like
That's
hotcakes is right.
That's, it's only that's only a plus to me. Okay, the album cover. We're we're
Hmm.
going slower than we wanted to.
Definitely.
The album cover. I think the album cover is phenomenal.
Hmm.
I mentioned before, this was before we were recording, where I was like, this is giving me LL Cool J Run DMC vibes. The rope chain,
Yeah,
the
ludicrous a
red,
little bit
yeah,
too.
the red pants, the red hat. I thought it was a bucket hat, but unclear. Uh,
Oh no,
uh,
definitely not a bucket hat. This is a cap.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But when I first saw it, I thought it was a bucket hat, and I'm like, this is like straight up Run DMC.
Oh no, no, no. Okay, okay.
But yeah, so I think it looks phenomenal. And it also, this is what we were talking about. We're harking back to like the 80s, early 90s of hip hop, right? That's what they were looking like. That's what cool looked like
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
late 80s, early 90s hip hop.
I like this cover a lot. I think the cover is better than the album. But I like this cover a lot. Every time I say something, Demar is just totally torn. And I want to be
Uh,
clear, if this is your first album mode review, Demar, attest this. I'm a huge Tyler the Creator fan. Please vouch. Like
Allegedly.
I
Allegedly. That's
he's the
that's what they've
artist.
been saying. The street says that, but I've been going back to the legal documents. The legal documents are not saying that recently.
Listen, on Spotify, I have 85 songs liked. I feel like Demar right now, defending myself. I got 85 songs liked. I've seen him 3, 4 times in concert. The most I've
Allegedly,
seen
I
of
haven't
any
seen that.
artist.
I wasn't there, so I can't tell.
We went to a show. Come
I,
on, let's not do
uh,
this.
we went to one show one time. That was one show.
And I see them 3 times before that. Um,
Allegedly.
Allegedly is hilarious. But I really like the cover. Before we get to the score and if it's as a vinyl cop,
Uh-huh.
I think what I thought about this project is kind of what I want Tyler to do. And I want Tyler to actually just make an album full of him trying to make hits.
Okay.
I actually want him to just make that attempt. Like
Okay.
see what that looks like. See him actually try and make, big records. Because I think Tyler is almost big in the way J. Cole is big. Where his fan base is just so strong,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what's happening in the mainstream, he's gonna, be huge. But even J. Cole has way more hit records than Tyler the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And J. Cole is just so much more of a rapidy rapper than Tyler is. So I want to see Tyler actually make those attempts and kind of get that like proper solo hit record, that real mainstream record, because I think I've seen this with artists who I've met and interviewed and worked with, is he's one of those artists where so much of his fan base is outside of his actual demographic.
Okay.
And I think that is like one of the hardest things as an artist when it comes to how you're viewed historically, is if most of your fan base isn't actually in your demographic to vouch for you. They don't have the
Mm-hmm.
context of your whole career. They don't understand what you're even talking about. So that's kind of what I'm looking for him, is to actually win over more millennials in the next cycle. And be kind of be that artist that millennials can kind of be more into, because I think that that's the one thing I think he's missing in his career is, those real commercial records
Mm-hmm.
that don't just stream well, but actually chart and get radio play and sync. Um, and then as well, like those records that the 30 to 45 crowd
Mm-hmm.
actually knows.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know if he needs to do that. I don't even know if anybody. You're like the only person I know that really even wants that. I don't know who else wants that,
I,
to be quite
I
honest.
I think he needs that. I think like again, this is historically I'm thinking. I think in
Yeah,
terms
but
of
yeah, even
being in
historically,
history, and I'll tell you why. Like in terms of history, they're the top guys, like having that is part of the story.
yeah.
Even Nas has I Can. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Even Nas is, what I'm saying, has made you look. Um so I think that's a big part of it, is and this is a lot of artists from this generation, but those artists who I have to put you up at a certain level because of what you've achieved. But do me and the homies actually play your music? Do me and the homies actually know your music? Different story.
Yeah, I think.
And I think his catalog is good enough that he can hang in those conversations, but something like that is going to hold him back.
Yeah, I think historically, this is way deeper than we thought we were gonna go on the time the creator, but
Hmm.
historically, I think. He's obviously top 50, like not even a question. Like if you don't have him in your
Mm-hmm.
top 50, I think you don't really like music or something. I don't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think that his all-time or historical claim is just like nobody else on the in the list can really make music like his. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
really digging into like the Kanye West sphere. Like he is in that
Mm-hmm.
vein when it comes to him historically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even, you know, uh, I think most people would say that actually. He's in a Kanye West type of vein. I think he's a better
Mm-hmm.
rapper than Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not he's not as visionary of a producer, but
Mm-hmm.
his production is definitely one of a kind,
Definitely
right?
adequate.
So there is he's more in that space. Like his number like trying to shoot for a number one. I think I really think if he dropped Ring 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 as a single like a month ago or something like that, we would be looking at a song that's genuinely charting. But outside of that, I think I don't know. He doesn't really need it. And I'm gonna say my score now because we've already gone deep, 30 minutes plus deep on this album that we did not want to do. And maybe it'll get a trim. But anyways, so actually, no, no, no. I'm not gonna go first. You're going first. Or do you want to go first? Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You can go first. You can go
I'm gonna
first.
go first because I know your take is gonna be scorching hot.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So for me, I was gonna call it Ring 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 for a second, but Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler the Creator is an 8.5. Strong 8.5, could have even been a 9. I think his songwriting is very funny. I think his rapping is solid. This is day two, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, he's talking about X, Y, and Z and this reverse flip on this. But I think his singing, even though his singing he's just like genuinely not a very good singer just because of his gravely voice,
Mm-hmm.
but he is making it work he's making it work. So a song like Ring 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 can actually make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think that his production, again, phenomenal. And I think that we're looking at a once in a generation type of act that can do something like Ring 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 and then do a song like Igor's theme and then do a song like She. Like his ability to Yonkers. Like, do you think if somebody heard a song like this right now, like Ring Ring Ring, and be like, yeah, that guy also made Yonkers, do you think a person would even believe that? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's an 8.5. I think he is missing that peak, like an earthquake, like a even like a, earthquake, I think is like his pinnacle
Mm-hmm.
commercial type of song, right?
Yes.
So there's nothing like that, and I feel like um it's not conceptual like the previous ones were. And it's not as bombastic for us for an album that doesn't have any concept. You know what I mean? So that's where he's taking hits for me. But other than that, that's an 8.5. I think this is very good. Bunch of songs I'm gonna be listening. You're gonna be listening to this shit on a Friday, bro. Friday, you're at the cookout or you're cleaning the house. You mean listen to this and you're doing a little one of these. One of
Oh
these.
man.
One of
Oh
these.
man.
But I think it's very good. One of his better. I think it's one of the better ones actually. And I think it's gonna get better as we listen. So 8.5 out of 10. Adriel,
Mm-hmm.
step to the altar and proclaim your sins. I need to hear the score that you have for this album.
Tyler the Creator, Don't Tap the Glass. I think this album's a 5.
Whoa!
Uh,
I just yelled genuinely. What?
yeah, I think this is an album that the aura has really raised everyone's score. In general. I think how I think of this project is if someone else made this album, would you be listening to this? Would this be groundbreaking? Would this be interesting? And the answer to me is no. And I think, especially when I think of all the people that he kind of took inspiration from, whether it's visually like Cool J, Ludacris, and Run DMC, or sonically, he did a kind of a worse version of what he was attempting to do to me. So This album is to me just average. There's no songs on here that I think are really
Whoa.
bad, but I would not feel comfortable showing someone this album.
Whoa.
So to
Yo,
me, this is a five.
which album did you load up on Spotify? Which one did
Which,
you click on?
which album did you click on?
Which
That's the
one?
real
Which one did you
question.
click on?
Which
Yo,
album did you click on? Like,
guys,
yeah,
I'm on the
this
right side
is
of history this time.
no man. And you know what I think is so interesting, and it's funny
It's
because I
so
feel like
wow.
I think I've really had the privilege of learning from again the people who I'm close with, whether it's friends or family, who are not on the internet. Because I think this is one of those albums that does not pass that test.
But here's the
I
thing. This is crazy, yo. Hold on a
mm,
second, bro. Like, I was about to be like, "Oh, then we're gonna sign off and get out of here." Hold on
mm,
a second. Just wait a minute for a second, because here's something that you mentioned throughout this review, and I'm definitely gonna have to trim like somewhere in the middle,
mm,
so we're not going like an hour and a half or some shit. But you're lending too much credence to like, oh, your average person is not gonna listen to this. But I'm like, great music can be made and like, 50,000 people think it's the greatest thing of all time
mm.
because they heard it and they're in the know, but their mom doesn't understand the context, doesn't understand the background, and it's still great.
This is not that. This is not. This is more about you liking this album is based on the aura Tyler the Creator, or not you in particular, but in general. Someone liking this album based on the aura you already have Tyler the Creator. If you do not have the aura for him and are not enticed and impressed by the fact that he produced this or the fact that, he's wearing what he's wearing on the cover, if none of that matters to you and you just hear the music, this is not going to be an album that you're going to be giving an 8.5. So that's what I mean to the people who are on the internet is if you have no aura for Tyler and this is just a guy who makes music, and I say this is an artist you never heard of. What do you
Right.
think of his music?
But you would have okay, but with this rationale, you would have
Hmm.
given Yeezus like a two.
I saw you just live, so that you can't give me that.
But I
I
don't
like
understand.
Jesus,
But that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like the rationale doesn't
but
like
I tell
your
you,
average person can't listen to Yeezus and be like, this is brilliant. They don't.
no, no,
They're not
but
gonna
I
get
think
it.
you're missing the point. This is a worse version of what he's attempting.
Okay.
I think he's capable of doing a better version. But I
Mm-hmm.
saw someone say online that he's given us a bunch of these sounds before and not giving us a better version of it. So I think, and you know what the thing is too. I think we can't divorce ourselves from the internet, and I think that's what I've realized over the past few years of doing this podcast
Mm-hmm.
is that you can't separate yourself from that. It's like I think about when I was introduced to Lauryn Hill when I was younger. There was no internet yet. You know, someone just told me listen to Lauryn Hill, and I listened. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no internet telling me she's the greatest ever and Frank Ocean could never compare.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have to go into Isla Lauryn Hill thinking she was the GOAT. Someone just said, "Oh, you like so and so? Listen to Lauryn Hill."
Mm-hmm.
Now we don't have that luxury. We're all going into this Tyler album with him cautioning us, us still being excited, us being like, okay, we're ready to dance, we're ready to move. It's like we're ready to dance. We said the album's not danceable, but the album's still great. Like, where does the math go? So, listen, in the comments, this is the time the comments to shine. Okay, Team Adriel or Team Demar, like,
Team
choose a
sane or team
side.
insane, please.
Team Sane, Team
This
Insane.
you
There you
did not
go.
like the you did
There you
not
go.
like the
Team
Ozempic
Insane.
line. You did not like the Ozempic line, guys.
I like that line. That line was good. That line was good. But I
That's
listen.
crazy.
I'm
I'm
also I'm
genuinely
also a
shocked.
huge Tyler fan,
No,
so I don't want that to get
that's
lost
not true.
here.
That's not true.
No, but you got to look at it like this
It's a
is like
legend. Everything is a legend.
no, but here's the thing, and Tyler's in this group of artists who we've talked about a million times on the podcast. He's not
Hmm.
gonna make bad music. So when an artist has that kind of aura on them,
Hmm.
they almost have to make such garbage for us to not think it's good. That
Okay.
make any sense? So to me, this is just good, average, regular, but the aura points
All right.
brings it up.
I
Let,
can't,
let
I can't wait till this
follow
next
us on
album.
the
I
interwebs,
can't,
man. I'm excited for the next album too. I'm actually more excited for the next album because I didn't love this album.
oh my
I
God.
actually have
I
no
think I can
songs
just
liked.
I
The
think I just
five
can
is
go ahead.
the five is probably too high because I actually have no songs liked on this project. So in
Guys,
reality,
the clip on this is gonna go nuts. I'm telling you.
so okay, follow us on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod on Twitter, Album Mode Pod on TikTok, Album Mode Pod on Instagram. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us. New episodes every single week. Like this video, leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. Who are you siding with? Am I right? Is Demar right? All the Tyler the Creator stands. I stand with you. I love Tyler the Creator. He's in my top 50. Don't tell me I don't understand or I don't get it. Just use your ears. Okay, go touch grass. Use your ears. Tell me what you guys think. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.